What if I told you about a country so frequently misunderstood? Its own capital city is often mispronounced by the outside world. A place that many imagine as a perpetual winter landscape, locked in a gloomy post-Soviet haze. But what if that quiet, unassuming facade was a deliberate shield, hiding a radical, world-changing experiment? An experiment born not from ambition, but from desperation. This isn't a journey to just see a pretty medieval town. This is a mission to understand how a nation, cornered by history, geography, and near total economic collapse, chose not to just survive, but to leapfrog the 20th century entirely, building its future from little more than silence, code, and a deeply ingrained memory of what it means to be free. We're going to peel back the layers to find the true, complicated, and utterly fascinating soul of Estonia. Our journey begins where most do, in the heart of Tallinn's old town. And it is, without question, one of the most perfectly preserved medieval cityscapes on Earth. Walking these cobblestone streets feels like stepping into a Brothers Grimm story. The soaring Gothic spires of St. Olaf's Church, once the tallest building in the world, the pastel-colored merchant houses crowding the town hall square, the winding, narrow alleyways like St. Catherine's Passage that whisper tales of centuries past. It's intoxicatingly easy to get lost here, to let the fantasy of a bygone era consume you. This picturesque perfection isn't an accident. It's the meticulously maintained legacy of the Hanseatic League, a powerful German-led trading confederation that dominated northern European commerce from the 13th to the 17th century. Tallinn, then known by its German name, Reval, was a crucial eastern outpost of this league. It was a city of immense wealth, a vital hub channeling Russian furs and wax to the west, and Western salt and cloth to the east. The grandeur you see, the fortified walls, the opulent guild halls, the very layout of the city, was built by and for German merchants. For centuries, this was the face Estonia presented to the world: prosperous, German, and decidedly Western. This very architecture is a form of identity, a statement of belonging to Europe that has been fiercely guarded through subsequent centuries of Russian and Soviet domination. But the popular image of a country shrouded in endless winter is the first myth we need to dismantle. While winters are undeniably long, dark, and cold, with temperatures often dropping to -10 or 20 Celsius, to ignore an Estonian summer is to miss half the story. It's a season of white nights, a phenomenon shared with its Nordic neighbors, where the sun barely dips below the horizon from May to July. The sky never goes truly dark, instead holding a lingering, ethereal twilight glow. The streets, which are indeed quiet and empty on a frozen winter's evening, come alive with an almost frantic energy. People spill out into courtyard cafes, open-air festivals like Tallinn's Old Town Days take over public squares, and the entire nation seems to migrate towards the coast and its more than 222 islands. They embrace the brief, intense warmth with a passion born of long deprivation. The national holiday of Janepe Eve, or Midsummer's Eve, is the peak of this celebration, a pagan-rooted festival of bonfires, singing, and folklore that marks the shortest night of the year. To understand Estonia, you must understand this profound duality: the quiet, stoic introspection of the long winter and the explosive, communal joy of the short summer are two sides of the same national coin. They are the fundamental rhythm of life here. A rhythm dictated by a latitude that most of the world only reads about, and it has shaped the very character of the people. One of the first things you'll notice, especially if you come from a more boisterous culture, is the quiet. Estonians are famously reserved. Small talk with strangers is a rare commodity. A comfortable silence between friends is not considered awkward, but a sign of mutual understanding. Some visitors misinterpret this as coldness or unfriendliness, particularly if they look different. There are well-documented narratives of a chilly reception for those with darker features, a lingering echo of a historically homogeneous society suddenly faced with a globalized world. And while navigating this social landscape can be a challenge, dismissing it as simple prejudice is to miss a deeper, more painful truth. This reserve is a historical shield, forged and hardened over 700 years of foreign rule. When your land has been a perpetual battlefield for Danes, Swedes, Teutonic Knights, Germans, and Russians, you learn to keep your thoughts to yourself. During the 50 years of Soviet occupation, this became a critical survival skill. The KGB was omnipresent. Neighbors informed on neighbors. A misplaced word could lead to interrogation, deportation to a Siberian gulag, or worse. In that environment, silence was safety. Trust was a currency reserved only for the innermost circle of family and friends. This isn't innate coldness, it's a deeply ingrained, multi-generational trauma response. It's a cultural programming that runs so deep, it will take generations more to fully unwind. But here lies the most breathtaking paradox of this nation. These quiet, reserved people, who value silence and personal space above all, orchestrated one of the most audacious and beautiful revolutions in modern history. And they did it not with guns or bombs, but with their voices. It's called the Singing Revolution. In the late 1980s, as the Soviet Union began to show cracks, Estonians, along with their Latvian and Lithuanian neighbors, began to gather. They converged on places like the Tallinn Song Festival grounds, a massive amphitheater built for state-controlled performances. But now, they sang for themselves. They sang forbidden patriotic hymns from their first period of independence, folk songs that had been passed down in whispers for generations. Singing, a core part of Estonian identity for centuries, became their weapon. It was a declaration of cultural survival, an act of mass defiance that the Soviet authorities were powerless to stop. The pinnacle of this was the Baltic Way on August 23, 1989. An estimated 2 million people formed an unbroken human chain stretching over 60 or 70 kilometers, linking the three Baltic capitals of Tallinn, Riga, and Vilnius. It was a silent, powerful protest demanding freedom. This wasn't just a political act. It was a profound reclamation of their soul. It explains everything about the Estonian spirit, the deep, almost sacred value placed on their unique Finno-Ugric language, so different from the Slavic and Germanic tongues surrounding them. It explains their resilience, their quiet determination. However, independence left deep scars, most visibly in the relationship with its large Russian-speaking minority. After 1991, Estonia, in a bid to restore its pre-war demographic and legal continuity, did not automatically grant citizenship to the hundreds of thousands of ethnic Russians who had been moved there during the Soviet era. This created a large population of non-citizens, a controversial status that persists to this day. The infamous 2007 Bronze Soldier incident, when the government relocated a Soviet-era war memorial from central Tallinn, sparked riots and a massive, crippling cyber attack widely attributed to Russia. It was a stark reminder that history is not a closed book here. The quiet of Tallinn streets is layered with unspoken tensions and competing narratives of the past. After the singing stopped and the Soviet tanks finally rolled away in 1991, Estonia was free. But it was also destitute. It was a tiny nation of just 1.4 million people with obsolete Soviet infrastructure and a shattered economy. They couldn't afford the bloated, paper-filled bureaucracy of older Western nations. They had a choice: painstakingly copy a flawed and expensive 20th century model, or do something completely, audaciously new. They chose to leap. This is the origin story of Estonia, the world's first truly digital society. It wasn't a trendy policy choice or a corporate gimmick. It was a radical act of survival. Spearheaded by a young, forward-thinking government, they launched a program in 1996 called Tigri UP, or the Tiger Leap. The goal was to heavily invest in computer infrastructure and internet connectivity, starting with the schools. They saw the nascent internet not as a tool for entertainment, but as the very blueprint for a new kind of state: transparent, efficient, and borderless. The key to understanding why this worked so well in Estonia lies in that deep-seated distrust of central authority. After the KGB, no one wanted a big brother government holding all their data in one central location. So they built a decentralized system called the X-Road. It's not a giant database. It's a secure data exchange layer, a digital highway that allows thousands of different public and private databases to communicate with each other in a secure, authenticated way. Your health records stay with your doctor's system, your tax records with the tax board. The government doesn't hold your data, it just has the key to ask for it when needed, and every single one of those asks leaves a digital footprint that you, the citizen, can see. This principle of distributed trust was the cornerstone. The results are staggering. In the year 2000, the cabinet declared its meetings paperless. In 2002, a digital ID card was launched for every citizen. In 2005, Estonia held the world's first legally binding national election online. Today, 99% of public services are available 24/7 online. You can register a business in 18 minutes, file your taxes in 3 minutes, access your complete medical history, and sign legally binding contracts from anywhere in the world with your digital ID. This brings us to their most brilliant and often misunderstood innovation, the e-residency program. Some sources mistakenly claim this is a plan to physically increase Estonia's population to 10 million. The reality is far more revolutionary. E-residency does not grant you the right to live in Estonia. It grants you a government-issued transnational digital identity. With it, a freelancer in Argentina, an entrepreneur in Nigeria, or a digital nomad in Thailand can establish and run a trusted, EU-based company entirely online, with access to European banking and payment systems. Think about the genius of this. Estonia turned its greatest limitation, a small population, into its greatest strength. They can't offer land, but they can offer a seamless, location-independent business environment. It's a brilliant solution to the 21st century problem of brain drain and global talent, and a significant new revenue stream for the state. They aren't just building a country, they're building a platform for the world. But this digital utopia is not without its shadows. The 2007 cyber attacks were a brutal wake-up call, forcing them to become world leaders in cybersecurity. There's also the risk of a digital divide, leaving older or less tech-savvy citizens behind. And it raises profound philosophical questions about what citizenship means when it's decoupled from geography. But what is it actually like to live in this digital utopia? The reality on the ground is, as always, more complex. Let's talk about money. The official statistics paint a picture of impressive progress. The minimum wage hovers around €820 a month, while the average gross salary has climbed to nearly €900. But these averages hide a stark and growing reality. An IT engineer, the celebrated hero of the new Estonian economy, can easily earn between €3,000 and €7,000 a month. or even more. They are the new elite, living a life comparable to their peers in Berlin or Stockholm. Meanwhile, a teacher, the person responsible for cultivating the next generation of digital innovators for the Tigri UP, might make €800 before tax. A social worker, a nurse, or a bus driver will earn significantly less. This disparity creates palpable tension. In the capital, Tallinn, where a third of the population lives and where the tech boom is hyper-concentrated, life is expensive. Rent for a simple one-bedroom apartment can easily consume €500 to €700. A family-sized apartment can push past €1,000 or €1,500, a crippling amount for anyone outside the tech bubble. A simple haircut for a man can cost a shocking €30 or €40, while free public transport in Tallinn is a fantastic social equalizer. It doesn't pay the grocery bill, which can run €300 to €400 a month for a single person. And what do people eat? The high-end restaurant scene in Tallinn is world-class, with chefs championing the new Nordic cuisine movement and earning Michelin stars. But the true soul of Estonian food is much humbler, reflecting centuries of making do with what the land and sea provide. It's about dark rye bread, or laib, which is so central to the culture that the word for it is also a synonym for livelihood. It's about kilava, ilib, an open-faced sandwich with a salted sprat, egg, and onion, the national snack. It's about smoked fish, hearty blood sausage, verwurst at Christmas, and comforting dishes like muljeputer, the potato and barley porridge with bacon. It's simple, honest, and deeply connected to the land. It's a delicious reminder that no matter how digital Estonia becomes, its roots are still firmly planted in the earth. This brings us to the final, and perhaps most important, layer of the Estonian identity. Nearly half the country is covered in forest. But to say these forests are just protected is a profound understatement. This isn't just about modern environmental policy, it's about a deep, spiritual connection that predates Christianity by millennia. This helps explain one of the most striking statistics about Estonia. It is consistently ranked as one of the least religious countries on Earth, with up to 80% of the population claiming no specific faith. While some are Orthodox Christians, mostly the Russian-speaking minority, and a few are Lutheran, the dominant belief system is a kind of secular, nature-worshipping reverence. The forest is their church. The sauna is their sacred ritual of cleansing. For centuries, before Christianity was brought here by German and Danish crusaders, Estonians practiced a nature-based paganism, a faith system now reconstructed as Tarask. They worshipped in sacred groves, or his. And though the formal religion faded under foreign pressure, its spirit never left. Estonians don't just admire nature, they participate in it. Foraging for mushrooms and wild berries is a national pastime, a rite known as Igau Hiigas or Everyman's Right. It's a silent, meditative act that connects them to their ancestors and the cycles of the seasons. The national parks, like Lahima with its rugged coastline, or Suma, famous for its fifth season, when spring floods turn the entire landscape into a vast, navigable waterway, are not just tourist attractions, they are sacred spaces. This deep, ancient bond with the natural world is the psychological bedrock upon which everything else is built. It's the source of their famous self-reliance and stoic resilience. It's the counterbalance to their futuristic, digital ambitions. An Estonian can spend their day developing blockchain solutions and their evening in a smoke sauna deep in the woods, seeing no contradiction whatsoever, because they understand that technology is a tool, a means to an end. But the forest, the bogs, and the sea, that is home. It is the constant, the unchangeable anchor in a history of violent turmoil and a future of breakneck change. So, we return from Estonia with more than just photos of a beautiful city. We return with the story of a nation that is a living, breathing paradox. It is ancient and futuristic, silent and revolutionary, rooted in the forest, yet reaching for the cloud. Estonia teaches us a vital lesson, that a country's greatest strengths can be forged in its deepest vulnerabilities. It proves that you don't have to be big to be influential, and that sometimes the quietest people have the most powerful things to say. It is a masterclass in resilience, a testament to the idea that you can honor your past without being imprisoned by it. What part of Estonia's complex story surprised you the most? The digital revolution born from distrust, or the silent revolution born from song? Let me know your thoughts or questions in the comments below. If this journey opened up a new perspective for you, please share this video with a fellow traveler who loves to look deeper than the surface. And be sure to subscribe for more deep dives into the world's most fascinating and misunderstood places. Thank you for exploring with me.